back then, like there was no letting your parents know when they were wrong and all of that. It was staying a child's place. But now realizing like that's not that's not 100% right because mom and daddy can be wrong sometime.
I'm real big on voice because I think like what you're talking about, there's pros and cons in everything that you do, right?
Yeah.
And so when you start doing it, the other side is it's like a lot of people haven't dealt with giving kids voice that they don't know how to do it appropriately. If that makes sense. Like it should be some boundary, in my opinion, in that as well.
Welcome to another edition of Let the Brother Speak. We back. We are back. The fellas are here. What's going on,
we
fellas?
putting on our shoes. We getting ready.
Let's
Here in effect, you know, we just saw, you know, we just needed a little break. We need a little break, you know, a little time to decompress. And you know, I was the one that needed a break. I was on vacation, and the fellas were here doing their thing. But you know what? We had to miss 2 weeks, but we back for another episode.
Yes, sir. Good to be back.
Good to be back.
Good to be back.
Good to be back.
Right at home.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So you know what? All right. Listen. Now we got a new format. Basically, we just we gonna cut the shows down. I got some viewer feedback. And they were just like, man, the show too long. We're not finna sit there and watch y'all talk for no hour. So we're going to cut it down 30 minutes. So let's just get right into it. I have a video to show you guys. All right. And I want y'all to take a look at this. And then I want y'all's feedback on it. All right.
All
right.
Black people, we fucking up the program. It's too much separatism. You know what the Hispanics do? 20 of them will be in one house. The black neighborhoods, while we fighting over who block that is, the Hispanics came in on the west side. They started with 20 of them in one house. Then they buy the house next door. Now it's 10 and 10. Then they buy the house next door. Now it's 5 and 50. And they buy the, and then we look up. They got the whole block now. We like, what the fuck going on? Because we don't want to work together. We so busy trying to be a boss on our own and don't nobody want to do nothing to help nobody. This is us. I told myself the other day, it just popped in my head. I said, I'm going to tell my kids they can stay with me as long as they want to. I'm not about to get to the
18.
And it's time to go now. You can live with me the rest of your life as long as we are putting a plan together for this family to be successful. We all going to live together. Grandma too, come on.
All right. So what was you all's take on that? What was you all's take on that?
It makes sense, man. The whole fact of, like you said, the Hispanic community, how they'll start in one house and they'll work their way in until they basically have a whole community for their family. And I just think, I think the issue isn't that it's not possible. I think the issue is that we're just not patient and it's almost like we're addicts, and you know that addict needs that I need that high right now feel. We're not patient enough. Like it's almost also it can come off kind of selfish too. Like I want it for y'all, but I want it for me more. So I'm basically not going to sacrifice my life and my time, even though it may be for my kids and my family and those I care about. And I say I want them to have better than I have, but you don't want them to have better than you have and get it from you. You want them to find it on their own. So I'm kind of like, man, it's sad, but like I was saying earlier, man, I do think like it will come because of some of the changes I'm seeing in our community as far as certain things we do compared to when we were brought up. But it's also sad that it's not something that we're willing to just say, all right, now let's do it. The same way when when COVID happened, everybody decided to become an entrepreneur. Well, the same way you put that energy into that, we can put that same energy into building up our own block. So just patience, man, and selflessness.
It goes back to something that I've seen Japanese culture. They have in business, they have this thing called a kiretsu. So you see companies that are out like Fuji, for instance. You know Fuji as a camera company, but they also do film, but they also build vehicles. Toyota used to build scooters, and they built motorcycles and cars and lawnmowers and things like that. Mitsubishi has cars, motorcycles, Yamaha motorcycles, jet skis, cars. They do everything. So it's not. They start off with something that they know they get right, and then just we as in our community, we see, and I hate to say it, there's two mentalities, and I always point this out. There's a crab and there's the goose. A crab sees, if it's on the bottom, it sees something trying to get out the pot and it tries to pull that one down. It holds onto it, keeps it from getting out. The one that's on the top keeps the other one from trying to get above it. But then a goose, they do this thing, whereas in the strongest one, the rest of them are cheering it on, cheering it on. That's why you hear them making that gawking noise, whatever that noise is, but they're cheering it on. And when it gets tired, it rolls back, and then another one moves up, and they keep going. It's a synergy to it, because if I had to do it on my own, I wouldn't go as far. But if somebody saying, "Come on, man, let's keep doing it," you get a little bit more energy to you. In our community, it's sometimes the thing of, I see you trying to do something, but I can't have you moving out of something doing better than me. It's almost like when you watch the movie Django and they were like, what's that outfit you wearing? That clown outfit. Because somebody gets a little too big for themselves and everybody's like looking at them like they're crazy. And then everybody's trying to tear them down. And the same thing, the person that's there, that's made it, is trying to look down on the rest of them. And I would love to see, some of these millionaires, billionaires in our own community sit there and go, hey, you know what? I want to invest in our own people. I see some good in it. And there have been, Oprah has helped out a few people. I can't knock, but it's like we in ourselves, even on a smaller knit thing, we don't do anything. It's like community. There's one person who's good at taking care of kids. Why don't you take care of that person, take care of your kids, and that person can help somebody else with going back to school, and somebody else can do this. And if we just pulled our resources together, we could honestly do a lot instead of buying $275 tennis shoes and trying to wear every brand that we can think of.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of stuff comes to mind when I'm listening to you all talking and also watching the video. And I had a particular perspective, and I don't know if it'll come out the same, but hopefully I can articulate this in a way that's intelligible. When I look at this particular situation, one of the things that immediately pops in my mind is how did we get in this particular state? Try to look at root cause analysis, right? And looking at how were we put in these conditions to where I see my brother doing good and I want to tear him down, right? And why is it such an automatic trigger to do it? It's like we do it without even thinking about it, if that makes sense, right? I see Chris doing well. Chris can't do better than me. So I'm gonna throw this out here. I see Miguel doing well. Miguel getting a little too big for his britches. Why is it that automatic reaction for us as a community? And I'm sure we have some ideas and things of that nature. We go back to slavery, things of that nature. But these things have been embedded into us, and everybody makes a dollar off us except us.
Absolutely.
Right. And in order to keep the system working, right, we are playing I guess you would say, for lack of the better word, we're playing the street walker in this particular situation, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And other people are pimping us, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're pimping us out of our communities, out of our women, out of our children, out of our manhood as well. Because we work so much, we don't have time to even give what we need to give to our families. So I guess where I'm leading to is this: is that when we get some strong leaders in our households that can sit down with us at least one time in a week and say, Okay, this is my plan for the family. This is where we're going. What do you plan on doing? How are we going to put these things together, right? And really step into your purpose in your life. I don't think we're going to get to that particular point. Um, I've seen communities do this. I think I told y'all about this community in Memphis called Orange Mound. I've seen them do that, predominantly owned by Black people and things of that nature, right? But they have this, again, it's almost automatic. Like I'm from Orange now, so I have this pride in this particular town, this within a town, and it's like automatic for them as well, right? It's systematic, right? It's embedded in them. It's the historical legacy that it leaves, if that makes sense. Where does it start at, right? Um, Not to be, I guess you would say, disagree with any of you all, but I don't care about the millionaires and billionaires. I care about the people that's in the community right now, right? Because they live a little bit different than what we live, if that makes sense, right? So we touch people on a day-to-day basis. We get to work with people on a day-to-day basis. And I can say probably for everybody in here, you probably make more money now than you made 20 years ago, right? What you doing with that money, right? Every time you got a raise, did you put it in savings? Did you try to go buy some property, right? Also, I bet you, and I can't, I'll say this for myself, I can't tell you what the price of an acre of land is in Texas right now, average. Like, are we looking at stuff like that, right? So, I mean, we can have these conversations and things of that nature, but it starts with us as Black men leading our families, and not necessarily just our family at home, but our extended family as well, our moms, our dads, and things of that nature, showing them, hey, these are some different opportunities that we can possibly tap into. A lot of people come back to me now like, hey, what can we try to invest in? And I got to get them some right information because if I don't, I'll lead them down the wrong path. You know, they believe in what you do. They see that you're being successful in things in your life. So they're going to start asking you for those things. And it's kind of like that torch is being passed, you know. And when that torch is being passed and you got it in your hand, that's a real thing. That's a big responsibility as well. So that's where I'm kind of at with it right now. And I pass it back to one of you all.
You know, I agree with that. You know, I also have this thing of biblical principle. You know, when you talk about saving, you were talking about saving. I always talk about, you know, where Joseph talks to Pharaoh about the saving of 1/5 or 20%. And if you save the 20% of your paycheck, regardless of what it is, you save that and put it towards an investment or something like that, it's going to grow exponentially. We know that. Whether it's in a time of feast or a time of famine, it's still going to grow. But our problem is that a lot of people, and I'm going to say I did it myself. You buy things to impress people that don't like you anyway. And that's the most profound statement that I've realized is that, you know, why am I buying this thing?
Can I add something to that? You also buy things to impress yourself when you don't like yourself.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, I think this is my take on some of this. We give them our $20 for us to buy it back from them for about 100.
Mhm.
I'll go two different lanes with this. Let's look at how we used to style ourselves back in the 90s and early 2000s. We were on baggy clothes, braids and froze, natural stuff. Then we seen what they were doing. They rocking polos, Abercrombie and Fish, tighter jeans and all that. So we switched to their stuff. Neater hairstyles for them to now go to now the baggy clothes that we wore back then. Now that's their fashion style. Now, if we want to rock it the way they rock it, it costs more. And then the braids that were so unprofessional for us back then, now they want to rock. They messy hairstyles that they rock now is what we've always rocked. Stuff that when we did it, it was seen as rough, poor. They've taken something that we've always had and we fed into it. So it's like we're playing chase with something we started. And the same thing in the community is we over here scream like in old neighborhoods that we grew up in, they're getting rebuilt, and we're hollering gentrification. Well, we should have stayed in those neighborhoods
And built it up ourselves.
and pushed out the drugs and built it up. then it would have been our community, whether whoever was in it. But if we would have stayed in and built it up, we wouldn't be screaming gentrification. We would be probably screaming Black Wall Street or whatever we want to call it. But we've moved away, and now that they bought what we moved away from, now we want it back. Well, why did we leave? So it's like we're starting trends just to follow them. And
I
and
think
that's
also just I think you make an interesting point, like why we move out of these communities. And this is something I always say in any setting I'm in, whether it's a professional setting, we're meeting in something like what we're doing right now, is that what I think that, and I can just say this, people in general don't know how to do is disagree appropriately.
Mhm.
And what I mean by that is this: when somebody does something that is not of liking, it's typically where the rift happens and then something ends up going down, right? Instead of having a conversation about what was incorrectly done according to your standards and things of that nature, and then moving from that, right?
Yeah.
What I think happens in these communities a lot of times, and I can say this for mine, because my family still owns land on, I think I mentioned to you all about Parker Road. We own land there, but the houses are not there anymore, right? These traditional houses that my grandmother lived in and her sister lived in, and then her mother down the street lived in, if that makes sense. Those houses, maybe one of those houses are still in existence. Well, you get situations where there's family members, right, that think these things should be done different ways, and then nothing ends up getting done,
Mhm.
right? Or, you ride past this light and you see this abandoned house that's torn down, no roof on it, things of that nature. And then again, if you think about it, grandma was probably only making $13 an hour, being able to keep this house in good shape. And then it's Negroes making $50,000 a year now, and we can't even keep the house right.
All because we disagreeing. So
Yeah.
somebody don't want to put in because of they're not getting their way.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the best way to say that is disagreements are leading to so much destruction.
Absolutely, man.
And I think that goes to like how I was saying earlier about sometimes we just ain't got to be selfish, man. Like you may not get your way, but if majority of the people or like in the family come to an agreement, like, just go with it, man. It may not be what you want,
but I think everybody has to be heard in those situations, because this what happens as well. It can be a majority, but if Miguel doesn't get to voice his concern, then it's gonna start leading to dissension.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And it's sort of the same way as, and it was a thing where I read this thing about some people were in a room, and there was two rooms, and one person they saw a person trying to feed themselves, and the spoon was on their elbow. But of course, you can't put your elbow to your face to feed yourself. But then there was another room where the people were taking spoons and feeding other people. And the one room, people are thinking selfishly. When you start feeding other people, what happens is it turns around and comes back to you.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just don't get why we don't want to build together. Now, in my instance, I know why I don't want to go back to my neighborhood, and it's not because of what's going on there. It's because I want land, because like I'm a person who I want like horses and stuff and land up ATV and 4-wheeler. So that's why like I want land, but everybody don't have that desire for acreage to do all this. So I'm like, and that doesn't mean I still wouldn't invest back in my community. Like I'd bring a business to my community if I could. Like some of the things I would like say trucking. Like I'd bring a trucking company and have it in my environment or my old neighborhood. But like I just don't get why we're afraid to do that. Like it looks nice in that neighborhood because they uphold that neighborhood. The same thing can happen in the neighborhood we grew up in if you just apply those same values and principles. But I don't think people want to wait. Sometimes we're so stuck on that. I gotta see it right now, and what you seeing right. And the sad thing about people, and I'm guilty of it at times too. People wanting to see a right now result. The issue with that result is that it's already outdated.
Yeah, it's a process, not a product.
Because if you look at it now, so many people are like, yeah, I want to move to this side of town. Well, really, if you notice, they're moving certain people to this area because they're about to take your area. And then you think you get nice with this, or you move into this good old HOA community. Well, this other side of town, they're already thinking about building a family community, a family compound. So it's like the results you think you want, you're already outdated. You're just chasing what you see them have.
It's sort of like buying an economics book in college. By the time the economics book gets printed, the information is 2 years old.
You're a couple iOS updates behind, man. Like you chasing something that, in a lot of ways, it wasn't for you, because, like you say, back then, hey, yeah, I live right here, grandma right there, cousin and them, they right there. Like, you should, like, building those type of communities is dope. Like, we all went to school in this neighborhood, so we already know the issues of this neighborhood. That means we can vote in the sheriff we want for this neighborhood. That means the police that police this neighborhood, they are for this neighborhood, but nobody want to do it.
Yeah.
I'm down for anybody that's willing to start a neighborhood and be like, hey man, we gonna all buy this one street. I'll be all for it. It could be in the Stop Six, the South Sides, the Oak Cliffs, but like, you just gotta be willing to start somewhere. And just a lot of people, like, they're not willing to do that, man.
What you got on them, brother Chris?
Look at
Hey, you know where I stand. You already know. I've said it time and time before. You know, black people can't come together to say lies. You know, and you know, it just pains me that we have that mentality. You know, I know you got some that's trying to do better. You got some, but it ain't enough. And I fault the music industry and social media. Because right now, everybody out to get that bag. Everybody out because they want to get $1 million, they want to get millions, they can buy a phone car and get a big house and all this other kind of stuff. You know, and screw you, because you ain't gonna hold me back. I ain't gonna let you hold me down. That's the majority of the people's mentality today.
Yeah.
You know, the majority. Now, I'm not saying everybody's like that, because you do have some people who are actually trying to build community, but it's not enough. It's not enough. And it's mainly, I'll see it happen. We'll see it happen, but I don't think it'll be in this generation. It won't be with this current generation. It won't be with this current generation. This current generation is all screwed up. It'll hopefully have to be like the generation after them. Because what was the phrase I heard? I heard somebody say, rich people, it goes in cycles. You have a rich man, they buy everything for their son. So you don't have to do anything. You already know where I'm going, right?
Yeah.
So eventually, it's gonna go down the line, and that son will have to walk everywhere he goes. He ain't gonna have no money. And that's where we're at. Our generation, our community is gonna have to get back to that poverty level again, to where we start really learning how to appreciate one another. Right now, we don't appreciate one another. You know, because we all are. You know, I've said it before on the show. You know, these young people today, they have no respect for life. You know, they go and shoot up anything. They can't fight, so they gotta go get guns and shoot up everything. So I just be glad when it gets back, that cycle goes back around.
Yeah.
You know. So
yeah, I get what you're saying about the music community and social media, but I don't fault them. I always fault parents.
That too.
Yeah, I always fault parents. It's us. We have kids living in our house. We let them do what they want to do. I would just say, as a nation, we let them do what they want to do. Chastising is not a bad thing if you're doing it correctly. Discipline is not a bad thing if you're doing it correctly as well. But until we take back our kids, take them away from the social media, take them away from the music. Not saying that they can't have that, but they need to have it in certain dosages. And then maybe replace that with a book, right? create some imagination, right?
Play outside.
Right, go play
bug.
outside.
What y'all supposed to do with that?
You know, these kids don't know how to
Kill
do
a bug
cursive.
with it. Kill a bug with it.
Right.
I'm so mad about that. They don't know how to do cursive.
Yeah.
But in a
They
lot,
tight, though.
yeah, in a lot of ways, they have more knowledge than us at this particular age. You know, when you're talking about technology, when you're talking about the information they have access and things of that nature, they can give you information and facts about a lot of things, have a knowledge about a lot of things.
Yeah.
However, and I'll pass to you, Mike. However, just because you have knowledge of something doesn't mean that you're able to be productive with that knowledge, if that makes sense, right? I have to be able to use knowledge to better my life, if that makes sense. So I find a lot of people in this day and age trying to accumulate knowledge so they can sound smart, things of that nature. But what are you doing with that knowledge, right? That phone can do a whole lot of different things. It's basically a computer in your pocket, right? And if you only use it for calling, you're not using it to its maximum extent, right? I say that the same thing with us as human beings. We're more than just being able to intake things. We can give things as well. And the way we're able to give things is by connecting with each other. So I'll pass to you, brother.
Yeah, one of the, like you said, information, good or bad. If you're not vetting the information, discerning that information, that's bad information. Would be sort of like trying to put putting Apple programs on a PC. It's going to cause it to crash because it can't pick it up. So a lot of times people are not vetting the information that they're getting, and they're taking bad information and calling it the truth. I've always said a lie told 1,000,000 times is one told 999,999 times too many. So you can't take things as truth because somebody else told you this information and a few other people told you that information. But if it's not true, it's not true.
Man,
You know, like they said, you know, people believe the lie because the lie is more entertaining.
Well, a lie can get halfway around the world before the truth can get his pants on. That was Winston Churchill.
Yep. So, all right. Well, we're going to wrap that right there. We're going to stop that right there. And we're going to get ready to call this a wrap. And, but listen, we still have our voter registration event coming up. Saturday, September 7th from noon to 5. Okay. We had to make a pivot. So it's just the voter registration. We're going to put the panel discussion on hold for another time. And we're not going to have the haircuts for the kids. We still have a barbecue though. And are we still going to have a health fair?
We're still looking for a couple more people. And if it's sold, then we will. But we may have to pivot on that as well, but the voter registration is our main attraction with the food.
Right. Okay. All right. So Saturday, September 7th from noon to 5. All right. Tell a friend, tell another friend, and bring them. Okay. Grab them. Get registered to vote because the DNC is going on right now as we speak this week. Okay. And I hope y'all watching because we watching. I hope y'all watching. And so remember, like, share, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. Hit that like button, hit that thumbs up button. That helps us out. And we're glad to be back, and we're glad to be back again.
Absolutely.
All right. And we will see you all next week. Have a good night.